My hands stable, I feel able to turn the tables. I could do this, just keep moving, keep your hands up, stupid. I feel lucid, a new viewing. I can see the end, I can see my future, I can view it. It's right there for the taking. Everything I've ever wanted, dreams are just waiting. I just gotta fight for it, willing to die for it, willing to like soreness, I just need to hike for it. I'm standing up 'cause I've had enough. I won't give up on this shit. As long as I'm breathing, I'm not retreating. I could be bleeding, I'll take a beating and keep on proceeding. I'm not fatiguing, 'cause once I enter the ring, I'll be undefeated. I got everything I need to be the greatest I could be. Watch out, I'm here now. Big mood, no doubts. Big moves, big mouth. Hit hard, knockout. I come from a different pedigree. Destiny, don't mean anything. I make everything in my life come to life. Manifest, see the light. Intuition be my guide. This is how I have survived. I'm standing up 'cause I've had enough. I won't give up on this shit. As long as I'm breathing, I'm not retreating. I could be bleeding, I'll take a beating and keep on proceeding. I'm not fatiguing, 'cause once I enter the ring, I'll be undefeated.
Hey, 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 guys.
Hey. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. What's everybody been up to?
Nothing.
About 5'8".
So thank you everyone for joining us. It's much appreciated. Welcome everybody in, saying hello to everyone. So let's see who's with us. We've got Wendy. We've got Ronald. Hey Ronald. Fancy. Love you women. We've got Wendy. We've got them missing with Manda. Hey sweetheart. Hey Rabbit Man, how you doing, honey? Nikki, Mrs. T. Mrs. T. Who else have we got?
You got Psychosocial down there. Iris is down. You got full
Yeah.
house down there, honey.
Sure
There's
do.
Hank. Hey Hank, sweetheart. Oh, there's beautiful purple. How's everyone doing? I hope you're all doing good.
Dang, girl, you hadn't even been live but a couple minutes and you already lost somebody off the panel.
Where's she gone? Let me see.
Oh, there she is.
She fell in a hole.
Don't try to be funny, okay? I'm sorry. I was in the house and I had bad Wi-Fi, okay? I have bad signal in my house.
Sure, let's claim that.
We forgive you. Many wouldn't, but we will.
You came back. That's the point.
Exactly. Right. That's what counts. Yeah, well, thank you everyone for joining us and welcome in.
Yep.
So
I will be the first to congratulate you on your new channel.
Oh, thanking you.
Yes, congratulations.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Why, thank you.
Do you
Nice.
see what's in chat, Rebecca?
What?
Do you see what's in chat?
Is there someone specific?
Yeah, look, specific.
I start. Okay.
Hey, Jill. Hey, Psychosocial.
Take a deep look.
Trying. Oh, you know what? Seems how Iris is here. Can you take just a moment to forewarn her? Let her. What happened, DJ?
I wasn't talking about Iris, but hey, Iris, hey, everybody.
I was taking a moment to talk about her, though. Just they're not about her, but let her know that that troublemaker over on your channel, Iris. He apparently went in somebody's chat and said something about that Eloise who keeps blocking me.
All right, y'all. Nightbot is acting crazy, so please, I don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah,
But
Nightbot's not being too nice.
I don't want him to time nobody out.
He's calling Fancy Glam out.
Yeah, please excuse Nightbot. He is a work in progress.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Work in progress.
Yes.
Oh.
Did Iris know who you were talking about? Shining.
I don't know. That's what I was trying to explain, but I'll explain it to her another time. That's fine.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I was just told he was in somebody's chat, and I'm sure he went in there, joking around, but CJ was not. She's like, I don't know who this person was, but he was in there talking smack, and she was getting ready to lay into him, and I was like, no.
So I had no clue what was going on.
I was like, it's Iris's husband. We joke back and forth. It's okay. I block him all the time. I'll get him.
Oh, we love you, Iris. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming in. What we're here for tonight is to say hi. And firstly, this is a complete joint effort. I'm not doing this without my girls. My girls are my backbone every step of the way. So credit where credit's due. They support me as much as I support them. And it's a complete joint effort what we're trying to achieve here. So in saying that, I think what we're trying to achieve really is we've all stood by in recent weeks and watched our own communities as well as others being infiltrated in different ways by people who do not stand for what we stand for. When we see people coming into our communities who advocate, represent, behave in certain ways that we all stand together and say, no, wait a minute, that's not right. Well, it's about opening the discussions to say, well, why is it not right? Where do we stand with it all? And what do we do when these situations present themselves? At times, there's going to be people that come into any social media platform who are or can be in the end proven to be convicted, in which case we can expose the fact that they've been convicted and what they are. But in terms of those who haven't yet been convicted, what we can do is stand together and say, no, you might not yet have been convicted, but what you stand for and represent is something that we do not stand for at all. So how do we work together, no matter what community we're in, no matter what sector, no matter who gets on with who or who doesn't get on with who? How do we all work together to make sure that we're getting awareness raised around people who hold a moral compass that states that their beliefs are that they advocate for the age of consent to be lowered, or they're advocating for inappropriateness with children? People with a mentality such as these who are going around the YouTube streets, and also different social media platforms who are normalising and justifying these behaviours. These are the people that we need to stand up against and say, hell no, no thank you. You may not be convicted, but what you represent is something we don't. And then how do we communicate that with each other? How do we work together to make sure that no matter where these people go to, awareness is raised to be able to bring attention and safety to other people? Because it's okay to bury our heads in the sand. Anybody can do that, but what about the next community that these people go into? Their attitudes are getting spread all over the place, where they're trying to rationalise and normalise all these behaviours and actions, and it's something that we don't stand for and we don't represent. Now, we've seen of lately, Dan, I'm sure you'll all know his name from when he came into a few channels trying to insert himself into a new community after he'd been chased out of so many. Now, like I've said previously, Dan may not be convicted of those crimes, but when there's visual evidence shown from his own words and his own mouth, how he speaks about and looks at minor children, then that's when we all get to take a stand and say, hell the heck no. We don't stand for that and we will not represent that. But what do we do with that information when we get it? Because if we don't spread that information and we don't highlight it, then like I said, these people are able to move on to the next community and do the same thing. And I certainly cannot be someone who sits by and allows information like that to be sat on, where I can sit back and know that somebody's going crawling into another community, inserting themselves, and more victims could be exposed to hearing, witnessing behaviours and actions like that. So for me, it's all about awareness and bringing attention to those things when we see it. We've seen it with Poor Dirt Farmer, we've seen it with Dan, and somebody remind me, I forget the other person's name.
Michael.
Dula.
Yeah, Michael Dula, who is a convicted sex offender. He has a criminal record, he is convicted, and yet he is on YouTube portraying the act of innocence as an advocate for missing and exploited children. But yet he has criminal convictions for offences against children. People like Dan may not have a criminal record. People like Poor Dirt Farmer, we don't know if he's got a criminal record. However, what we have got is evidence of their attitudes, their behaviours and their opinions towards minor children. And that's where morally we all get to take a stand and say, you know what, we don't stand for that and we will not stand for that. And we raise awareness to the fact that these people have attitudes and opinions like that. And yeah, everybody's entitled to an opinion, but when it's an opinion and it's held against a child or inappropriate acts towards a child, then I'm sorry, but that should be exposed every step of the way.
Yep.
So the channel's not going to be solely about that, but it will be about confronting things like this when we see it. As we always say, you see something, you say something. But we'll also be doing a lot on raising awareness and educating on how to keep ourselves as adults safe online, but also advice and information on how to keep our children safe online, which will be coming from official sources. I'll be putting links into different sites that people can access resources that give official advice and information on how to best keep yourself safe. So hopefully if we can tap into these resources, spread awareness and call it out as we see it, then we can start to make a difference. one thing that is very true in the statement of the intro video for me is I'm not what I've been through. I am a survivor of childhood abuse, but it does not define who I am, and it does not make me who I am. I get to decide that. And for me, my story isn't relevant to the journey that I'm on now, because the journey that I'm on now, and always have been for many years, has been about advocating for awareness. It's about bringing attention to the problems that people don't want to talk about, the taboo subjects that people don't want to address or discuss because they are hard topics. So I want to give a platform to be able to talk about these hard topics and open it up and let people have their say and their opinions on some of these tough subjects. So I think for me that's the most important thing. It's bringing attention. And when we see the bullshit, we're going to call it out. You know?
Jill has a question.
What's the
asked her-
question, Jill?
Yeah.
No, it's CJ's. It's her background.
Oh, the third guy, the three people
Yeah.
that we were talking about was Daniel Sullivan. The second one was Poor Dirt Farmer. And the third one reminds me of the name, ladies.
Michael Dula.
He
Michael
has a
Dilla.
YouTube channel.
And he also has a YouTube channel who advocates for missing and exploited children.
And he has a paranormal channel.
And
Yes.
he's a paranormal channel, but he is also a convicted sex offender, and that his records online that can be accessed by anyone. And he is advocating for those things, which is a bit of
I
a
don't
double
know
standard,
if-
but
I don't know if everybody remembers, but he was the one, this might jog your memory of who he is. He was the one that catfished or tried to catfish Candace.
yes.
I'm not sure if he's married, Jill. I haven't heard that, but
I'm not sure, but yes, he does do a lot of work in his opinion with missing cases on YouTube. What he's getting out of that, whether it's, in his opinion, redemption, or if he's getting some sort of kick out of it, who knows. But he's certainly a registered offender. That's provable. You just need to search him up. And like I said, it's things like this that we just need to be aware of and mindful of.
Well, he's also one who works people over by saying he was innocent, but he had to, cop a plea,
Yes.
because of blah, 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 whatever.
Yes.
That's part of their craft is they got to try to manipulate somebody's mind into thinking they're not who they really are.
That's right.
But he was found to have evidence on his phone.
Yep.
Of course, the children were able to have their say. We're talking about a 6-year-old and a 14-year-old. So this is someone who was found guilty in the eyes of the courts. There was more than enough evidence there. Now he did his time, whatever. But as we all know, this isn't something where you do you've already paid your time, you're out and you're quote unquote rehabilitated. People like this are not
he's on the
rehabilitated.
registry.
Yeah.
He is registered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for at least 10 years, it says.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't care whether somebody pleads or protests their innocence or not. If in the
Yes.
eyes of the law you have been found guilty, I will take it as you're guilty. There is nothing you will ever say to me to convince me otherwise, because if a court of law has managed to find you guilty, then I'm
Yes.
sorry, I'm going to lead with that.
And Ink, that statement is true. That was the one that was brought to
Yeah.
the chat.
Mhm.
Yes,
We love you too, Purple.
we love you too, Purple.
We love all y'all. Thank y'all for all coming, supporting her on her first CJ on her first live.
Yep. As I said, the day that I found out about Dan, it had been exposed by another channel, his name. I've said this before. And I'm thankful for that, because even though there might have been breadcrumbs around prior to that, nobody had put the pieces together until we had that full name. Once we had that full name, we were able to start doing a lot of digging.
Right. And I
And
wanted to
that
say that, I'm sorry, honey, go ahead.
on you go, sweetheart.
Well, it was brought up last night that that Dan was not called out in the beginning. We are not, never have been, and never will be in the practice of accusing someone unless there's proof. And we didn't have any proof then. The second we had it,
Mm-hmm.
we let everyone know. So
Right.
We certainly did.
We went straight to Purple and let her know.
And once we were able to get that information after we seen the name, and we were able to gather everything up and do some more digging, I was able to speak to some people that I knew and do a bit of digging around, and found out a lot of things that weren't even available online. And that led me to know how many associations he really had with other sex offenders. So while he was sitting on panel claiming that he didn't have any relationships with other offenders, I can count off at least 4 different offenders that he has a friendship with. And these are all provable because he speaks to these people on his live streams. So he can deny these things all he likes, but these things were all proven.
And I'll continue that statement. After we did get the message out there, Purple immediately took action and did not allow him back.
Right.
So people that were saying that she did, that she allowed it, no, that is not true.
Now, what I will say is that I have seen some different comments, not saying where and who, but I have seen some different statements being made about different things. And what I will say is this: it is not a race as to who outs what first, or who exposes what, or who finds what. It's not, there's no prize at the damn end of it. And when we find out information, the first thing we all should want to do is share it.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a lot of situations where that doesn't seem to happen. For whatever reason, it doesn't always seem to happen, which is one of the biggest reasons that I had for doing what I'm doing now. I want it to be a place where everyone's welcome, because, like I said, I don't care who argues with who. If you're here to discuss the topics that we are discussing, if you're here to talk about what's right and, do that, you're welcome. But if you're here to poke or prod or throw jabs at other people that you don't like, then leave it at the damn door. If you can't leave it at the damn door, don't enter. Because we should all be here for the one reason, together. Differences shouldn't be taken into consideration when it comes to standing by what is right and defending innocent children. It's as simple as that. So for me, anybody's welcome here. I don't care where you come from, what community, who likes who doesn't like who. Everyone's welcome. But don't bring your bullshit in here. It's as simple as that.
And I want to personally thank Six Up because we didn't have a name, and I don't know where she got her information or the purpose of releasing that information, but she did, and we were able to figure out who he was and get the word out.
Yeah. Like I said,
So-
it's not a race or a competition. There's no brownie points or prize at the damn end. Whenever something like that's put out, I am grateful to whoever puts it out. And when that information was put out, what I will say is when I reached out to other communities, Rapid Man, there's a few others, who at the time when I reached out to them, these people are what truly represents sharing for awareness. Because these are the people that as soon as I approached them and said, what info do you have? Help me out here. Like, what do you guys know? All the rest of it. I was immediately pointed in so many different directions to access everything that I needed. And like I said, I was also able to access other stuff as well. So these people were so welcoming and so open because they're in it for the right reasons. All they're interested in is sharing awareness. They don't care about the arguments, the communities, they don't care. They just want to make sure that other communities aren't being exposed to idiots like that, to scum like that. So this is what this is about, where we're going to raise awareness, educate, but as well as that, we're going to call it out when we see it. So when we do see people like these people around the YouTube streets, we're going to call it out for what it is.
Ink, I love you too, honey.
Love
Yeah.
you, Ink.
I'd like to add to that is that, you know, finding out and putting the information out there immediately. When you're dealing with people like this, there was, you know, in this situation with this particular man, there was a community that knew about this, and they knew about him, did not put the information out, held on to it as if it was a joke, as if it was funny. You know,
Well, I think the reason they held on to it was because they wanted to use it to their advantage and
of
say,
course, and that's
ha,
bullshit.
ha, ha, look what you've been entertaining.
Yeah. And we don't have time for that. That is
Nope.
complete and utter bullshit. Every day that you sit on the information like that is a day that you're enabling this a-hole to go out and do this again to innocent children.
Yeah.
And that's where I, you know, say that it's our place to stand up as adults who are supposed to protect our children, whether they're ours biologically or not. There's no child that is off limits when it comes to protecting them from a beast like this.
Right. You're exactly right, Ronald.
100%.
Basically put your dislikes of someone aside to protect our children and others that need protecting and help.
Exactly. Those days that you sit on the information, how many more children could he have gotten access to?
Yep.
You know, people that were unaware. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Nobody should ever sit on information like this. You know, if you see it, you say it. It's as simple as that. You know, it shouldn't come down to whether people like each other or dislike each other. It shouldn't be down to, oh, wait, you know, and I'll expose this later or whatever. When we see something like that in a community and we see somebody like that inserting themselves and pushing that narrative where they're trying to normalise comments towards minor children or behaviours towards minor children that are seriously inappropriate, then that's when we all need to take a stand and say, you know what, let's get this information out there as soon as possible to anyone that we know, whether we like them or we don't like them, so that we can band together to make sure that these people don't insert themselves in. And if we then stop them coming into our community, it's then making sure that lives like this are out there so that when they insert themselves into new communities, it can be found out, it can be discovered. People can go and do the research and find out some more information. But it's certainly not about point scoring or tit for tat. It's about let's do what's right and stand by our moral compass here. Because at the end of the day, we all need to put our damn moral compass in check and say it's about what's right.
Everyone should look at each situation that they come to with like that as if they're protecting their own child. What would you do if this person was going after your child?
100%. Hey, Sassy.
Hey, Sassy.
Well, you know what I could tell you? You know what I could tell you is what you shouldn't do? Permission to speak freely, CJ?
Mm-hmm.
What I
Fire
wouldn't
away.
do, what I would not do, is sit on the information for days. Sit on it. Use it for my own little battlefield points.
Mm-hmm.
And then go into a chat where somebody is discussing it, saying, hey, guys, this is what's happened, blah, 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 blah. And come in and say, we didn't know. And then turn around within that same live. Oh, my God. Turn around and then say, well, we tried to email you. We tried to come in under troll accounts. Which is it? Did you know or did you not know? That's what I would not do if I had this kind of information.
100%.
Sorry, I get so irritated with that. I'm so over adults not standing up for children when you see something is not right.
I completely agree. And that's the whole point of doing what we're doing now, because there's too many people who are turning a blind eye, burying their heads in the damn sand, and it's all because they have an agenda of some sort.
Well, it's disgusts me because, it's like, come on, you're failing the kids. Your petty little bullshit. I can't understand where these people's minds are. How low can you go on something like this?
That's exactly it. I mean, what we shouldn't be doing when we find out information like that is exactly what you said. We should not be sitting on that information. We should be not using it for point scoring. We should not be using it for tit for damn tat. Because what are we doing it for? When we've got information about like that about someone, our first duty of care, our first moral duty of damn fucking care is to stand by what's right and to keep each other safe. I don't give a shit if you like each other or not. It's about standing by each other, keeping our community safe, our subscribers safe, our mods safe. It's about keeping our channel safe from people like this inserting their damn selves in. So it's as simple as that. Hey, Freedom Believer, yeah, it is, honey.
Well, I'm sorry. I'll just never understand I just don't understand how somebody can let YouTube bullcrap cloud their judgment so much. As when I just break it down to, you're failing the kids. You're failing these children out here is what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're and realistically, you're failing a whole family because when the children get hurt, if it's outside of the family unit, then you've got a whole family who is affected by this as well.
Yeah, 100%. And like I said, I don't care personally whether you're convicted or not. If you're sitting in a public platform, not trying to normalise or justify inappropriate thoughts, behaviours, or actions towards a minor child, then you should be called out. And if people find out that there's somebody like that doing those things and they're not calling it out, then I think you need to go check your moral damn compasses. Because if you're not prepared to call it out when you see it, if you're prepared to sit on it, what you're doing is you're allowing more people to be made vulnerable to someone like that and being exposed to someone like that. And all it takes is for someone like that to make a comment normalising or speaking inappropriately towards them about a minor in front of someone to trigger maybe another survivor off, or to maybe cause a lot of emotional damage to people that way. Because let's face it, the only people who would agree would be like-minded people. So when we find out information like that, we need to stand together and make sure it's called out. All these people who sit on it and don't do nothing with it, and you hear so many things like, oh, well, I didn't know what to believe, I didn't know, maybe they were telling the truth, maybe they weren't telling the truth, who knows, let's just not say anything, let's just not do anything. Well, not doing nothing does a lot more damage than doing something. So when we see it, like I said, if it's somebody who's convicted, yes, you can call them out for being convicted for their behaviours. If they're not convicted, we can call them out for being sleazeballs and say you're not damn welcome, and we won't allow that around. Anybody who's prepared to sit on that, ignore it, or join in with it, or go to these channels and participate where they're prepared to ignore the fact that they speak about minor children this way just in order to have somewhere to go or chat or whatever, well, I'm sorry, check your moral damn compass. So like I said, we've got a long way to go. Like I said, I'm at the very beginning of this, I'm still clueless in what I'm doing here in terms of working YouTube and everything else. But I can promise you that I'll try my damnedest to do what I can to call all this out and to raise as much awareness as I can. We'll also cover some cases at different times, possibly in the future, related to crimes that are committed through online offences or things like that. There'll be a lot of different angles that we might potentially take it in the future as well, but at the moment we're focusing on awareness, education, and calling this stuff out when we see it. But what I will not stand by is people who are prepared to sit on it, ignore it, whitewash it, or justify it because they want to have an opinion that something happened or didn't happen. Let's just face it, it is not our place to ever decide whether something happens or doesn't happen. All we can go by is the words that come out of people's mouths unless there's a criminal conviction. If the words coming out of that person's mouth are abusive, if the words coming out of that person's mouth are inappropriate towards a minor, then we call it out. And it's as simple as that.
I think it's important too that, you know, the mindset here is not, you know, it's protecting future possible victims. You know, that's the thing is to, you know, we can't stop what's already happened. You know, that's already happened. But what we can do is try and get these dirt bags out of here and away from other innocent children and prevent this from happening.
Yes.
You know, like I said, a perfect world, we wouldn't even have to be doing this. That would be wonderful if one day something, even discussing this topic was just not even necessary. But the truth is, it seems like the world's just getting more and more of them in.
Hmm.
And now with social media, we've even got them, coming in, creeping in. This is another tool that they use to get what they want.
And here's another thing that I want to address that kind of coincides with what we've been discussing, is a lot of channels, and YouTube especially, the way they operate, especially when they become monetized and things like that, a lot of channels have Discords attached to their channels that their members can go and enjoy and get to know each other and things like that. Many channels throughout the whole of YouTube have these things. One thing I'll ask everybody to be really, really mindful of is it's okay to say that we can't monitor everyone that comes up on panel, because we can't. We're not psychic. They don't come with a tattoo in their foreheads that say, I'm a creep, or I've been convicted of. I wish they did. But we don't know until we know, if that makes sense. But when it comes to Discords, please, all channel holders out there, please always be mindful that because we don't know who's out there who becomes members of channels, who gain access to these Discords, when you're sharing things in Discord, when you're sharing that you think it's okay to share maybe a family picture or a picture of your children or anything like that, please always be mindful that we don't know who's behind some of these members that get added in. So always be mindful, please, and protect your own photos, your family's photos and things like that when you are putting them in, because you never know if it is somebody who is a convicted sex offender or somebody who hasn't been convicted yet who is accessing these images. Now, I can tell you, as girls have been in a situation like that, where we were left vulnerable to someone being added into a chat that we were all in, who turned out to be a convicted sex offender. And it's the gentleman that we were speaking about earlier that runs a YouTube channel for missing children. And he was added into a chat that we were in, and within seconds it was realised who he was and he was removed immediately. But we all felt tainted. We all felt slightly tarnished somehow. Everything felt sort of grubby after that, because we suddenly realised that, wait a minute, he can now scroll back, even though he's been removed, and see things that we had posted previously with regards to family photos and things like that. So that's why I'm expressing this now, that lessons get learnt from things like that, and you have to learn how to keep yourself slightly safer. And from that experience, we've all learnt to never share things like that for those reasons, because you don't know who's looking at those pictures, and we can ascertain whether somebody is looking at a family picture that we share, thinking we're sharing it with friends, whether they're looking at that picture with pure intentions or unpure intentions. So it is a proven fact that we don't know who's behind every profile, and we do have to learn how to be careful, keep ourselves safe, and keep what information that we put out there even safer. Because we don't know who's sitting behind that keyboard, and for all we know, it could be another predator, and we have to be careful. So that was my point about Discords. When channels are attaching Discords to their channels and things for members, just be careful.
CJ, can we ask everybody to put some prayer hands and hearts in the chat for Sassy and her family?
Yes, 100%. If everyone can please throw prayer hands and as much love in the chat as possible for Sassy right now. I would truly appreciate it. I know we all would.
We love you, Sassy. We're praying for you.
We do. We love you loads, Sassy. And I don't know if this sounds cheesy or not to sort of put this out there, but one thing I do want to say to everybody in chat right now, I don't know what anybody's journey's ever been in life, but what I will say to everyone listening is if you have ever been a victim of domestic violence, SA, or R, then please know that it was not your fault. You are believed, and you have people here who will believe you and stand with you. So please know that from the bottom of my heart, that anybody, no matter what your journey's been, you're believed, you will be heard, you have a voice, and we're all here to fight this battle together. Yeah.
Hey, y'all.
I think I'm going to need to time my Nightbot out. How do you put Nightbot in the naughty step?
Gone rogue.
Why? What's your Nightbot doing?
Saying some weird stuff.
It doesn't like emojis, I think. I don't know. If we have a Nightbot expert in the house anywhere, then hit me up.
Nightbox is only as smart as the person programming it. Just saying.
You leave me alone. I'm a beginner.
Are you programming it?
Hey, we worked on that all morning now.
And look where it's at. Okay.
Look, there you go. Ink's just timed him out.
Yeah, I don't like all caps. Yeah, Sassy, I'm sending love and prayers your way, sweetie.
Yeah, I think I've just got you modded up. Yeah.
I think it's saying, are you using all caps? I think Ink said they don't like all caps.
No, I might need to disable that bitty then. Right, I need another Nightbot lesson.
We'll get it figured out. We'll get it there.
Ink time Nightbot out. She put him in the naughty step.
Mm-hmm.
Put Nightbot on a block list.
No one is immune from being timed out.
Nope, not at all. Nightbot's gone rogue. Let's see if that one works. Like I said, I'm a learner, so bear with me. We'll get there. Slowly but surely.
Well, I mean, you are up here with Trouble and the No Jobber, so.
We will have to go back through the settings again.
Yeah.
It's understanding Nightbot is acting up. It really is.
Yeah. We'll get it
Look,
sorted
we
out
was up
and
early this
tweak
morning
when
doing
we
that.
need
That was
to.
just a surprise.
But also, I want
Karen,
to put a big thank you out there to Linda Marie for all the help that she has given, and Wendy, and everybody else who has helped with getting the intro video done, because these were absolutely amazing. Rock stars.
Love the intro.
Yes.
hey, didn't you want to on
You're bebopping,
about believing in until
Jenna.
proven not guilty?
Beat bop bipping.
You're
You're be-
bebopping.
I'm sorry, I'm in the house. I'll type it in back chat.
Nothing there, Jenna. Your back chat is bebopping too, honey. Dang, what are you doing? Typing a novel?
But yeah, I think we've just seen a lot of people enter our communities in the last few weeks. A lot of situations that have been triggering for a lot of people, where we see people coming in with those attitudes and behaviours. And we've seen a lot of people make a lot of claims. And I think what we can do is band together, stand together, and make sure that we stand for what's right. We can't go around accusing people of being sexual predators unless they're convicted. That's just fact. But when we see people with inappropriate behaviours and actions towards children and thoughts towards children, we can call it out and say you're a sleazeball. We can call it out and say you're damn pond scum. We can call it out and say you're nothing but a piece of shit in her shoe. We might not be able to say you're a convicted sexual offender, but you're showing characteristics of very inappropriate thoughts and behaviours towards minors, which means we can call it out and say, no, we will not, under any circumstances, stand for that or allow it around any of us. But I think we just need to start doing what's right, because see all these people who sit with information because it's either too uncomfortable or they don't know what to do with it, or they're not sure if it's true or not. So why say something anyway? Why say something? Well, here's the reasons why you should say something. Because see, by not saying anything when you find out information like this, you're leaving other people vulnerable to being exposed to people like this. You're allowing these people to climb into other communities, into other people's live chats, panels, private discords, where people are able to insert themselves in without anybody knowing who these people are. So when people are going to sit there and say, why should I? Why should I? I've done something, it's not my place. Why should I say anything? Be a damn decent person. That's what it boils down to. You're not legally obligated. There's no contract saying you have to. But what do you want to say when you look at yourself in the damn mirror? When we see our reflection in the mirror, what do we want to see? Do we want to see somebody that buries their head in the sand when we see something like that? Or do we want to see somebody who will stand up for what's right? Because see, the people who aren't exposing things like this when they see it. They're absolute pond scum as well. Because you're holding on to information and allowing people to be more vulnerable to other people like this. So when you see it, you see it. If you're not going to see it, you're burying your head in the damn sand. And you become part of the problem, not part of the solution. And the solution comes in knowledge. Knowledge is power. By educating ourselves, by sharing information, by banding together. That is what is needed to break the cycle of bullshit like this. And we keep the knowledge out there so that other people are able to tap into that knowledge. That type of knowledge should be freely shared with anybody who wants access to it, to keep other people safe. But anybody who wants to sit on bullshit like that, I'm sorry, you're part of the fucking problem. So I think it's standing to their right with things like that. We've got to always remember that sexual violence impacts male and female children, male and female adults. It impacts everybody. It does not discriminate. It impacts everybody. So we're all here for the same reason. And that's to stand for what's damn right.
Exactly.
And I'll just put this out there as well. I think there's a lot of things that need changed with regards to the justice system. Yes. I believe that there's a lot of things that need changed in terms of I do not ever think it should be allowed to minimise another victim's crime by allowing plea deals of any sort. If there's 10 victims in a case, 5 victims' crimes should never be dismissed just so that an offender will take a plea deal and plead guilty. At the end of the day, the only reason a court requires a guilty plea is because they're trying to save in court costs by getting the offender to take a guilty plea so that it's over and done with quickly. They're able to move straight to sentencing, job done. It's all to save court cost.
And then the attorney gets to put a feather in his cap.
Yeah. But what does it do for the victims of those crimes who their experience has been undermined and belittled because they're now being told, sorry, your case is no longer valid because it's been pleaded out and he's not getting charged for your crime, but he's getting charged for these other victims' crimes. That should not be allowed. A victim is a victim. A crime is a crime. You don't get to erase a crime. You don't get to plead it out. You shouldn't be able to plead it out. So when it comes to how things need to change, I think there's a lot that needs to change within the judicial system and sentencing structure for a lot of things to change with those things. But equally, I also believe, and this is my opinion and my opinion only, I also believe that if you commit the crime, you should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The fullest. No plea deals, no cop-outs, no anything. But if you falsely report a crime, such as rape or abuse, I also equally think if it is proven to be a false claim, you should equally be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Because in making false allegations, it undermines the experiences of people who are true victims of those crimes. So I completely advocate for justice and for awareness. And like I said, when it comes to prosecution, my personal opinion, if you're guilty, you should be going to prison for as long as damn possible. If you've made false allegations, then you should also go to prison for as long as damn possible. And that's just where I stand in my own opinions on it. Because I do not ever want anything being taken away from a true victim. It's hard enough for people to find the courage to come forward, whatever the type of offence they have been through, whether it's childhood abuse, whether it's adulthood abuse or rape. It's hard enough for people to feel comfortable enough to come forward at any time. And I will never judge somebody who has never came forward, because I totally understand that everybody's journey is completely different. But what we can do is support each other through those things and say, look, we're not standing for any more of this, and let's change as much as we can and get our voices damn well heard.
Totally agree.
Yep, I do too.
You know, and to all the channels out there who have exposed Dan, I 100% thank you, because like I said, you've all welcomed me in, gave me every piece of information you've all had. And like I said, knowledge is power. The more you share information, the more we get the information out there. At some point, I'll share to this page the live that was on Jenna's, with her permission, of course, which is the live that we did where we provided all the proof regarding Dan and all the information. And people can have a look at that if they want to see what evidence was out there regarding Dan. But when it comes to people like Poor Dirt Farmer, Dan, or the other guy that I keep forgetting his name,
Michael Dula.
Michael Dula, like I said, and I've told Dan this, and Dan learnt this lesson the damn hard way. You want to come and face this little Scottish person, and you want to come and think you can explain to me or justify it, come along. I'll drop you the link.
No, we'll listen to anything you got to say.
Poor Dirt Farmer, Dan, Michael, any of yous ever want a link and you want to come up here and argue why you think it is acceptable to have inappropriate thoughts, behaviours or actions towards minor children, you come speak to me. You come have a conversation. I'll hear you out. You try and explain to me and anybody else who is listening your thought process. Because one thing I'll assure you is that there is nothing, not one single thing that any of you all or anybody else of that nature could ever say that would ever make it okay to think, speak, act or behave inappropriately towards a minor damn child. You can sugarcoat it, you can rationalise it as much as you damn like. You are what you are, you're fucking pond scum. You're nothing but a piece of shit in my fucking shoe.
Yep.
So you think you're big enough that you think that that kind of behaviour's okay? Come tell me to my face why you think that's okay. Come have a conversation. Because I can guarantee you ain't going to like what you hear. You ain't going to like what every mother or father or person in this chat is going to have to say. But if you think that you can justify it so well come and have a conversation. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, and we'll even give you an even playing field. We'll drop down and you can spar out with
Oh,
TJ.
believe me, I am not frightened not even a percentage, to take Dan or any one of these scumbags on 1-to-1.
Yep.
If you feel a little bit too intimidated by having 3 or 4 females on a panel asking you questions or having a conversation, like the lady said, I'll happily take you on, because there's not one angle that you will take that you will win in that damn conversation with me.
Oh, there's nothing to be intimidated about by us. No. Unless, of course, you're chicken shit. Oh, yeah,
Yep,
that's right. You are.
Mm-hmm.
yep,
Chicken shit pond scum.
yep,
You know, that's probably still too good.
Yep.
yep. Roberta, nobody knows. That's the problem. I think you can only understand that if you have that thought process yourself. That's why we'll never understand it, because we ain't like that. So I think people with thoughts like that, I mean, we've seen poor Dirk Farmer who, what was it, girls sat on a panel and justified how he believed at the age of consent should be lowered to 13 so that you could marry a 13-year-old child and have sex with them.
Mhm.
I thought there was something mentioned about an 8-year-old.
Yeah, I think there was comments like that as well.
No,
But
yeah,
yeah,
it was an 8-year-old. Said that in many countries 8-year-olds are able to be married. That's sick. I'm sorry. And I hope y'all
that's,
can hear me and I'm not robotic.
no, you're not.
We
And
hear
yes, we
you
can.
loud and clear.
Okay, good.
So they take
Sorry.
that angle to justify lowering Americans down to 13.
No,
Mhm.
that's sick as yeah. Yeah.
All right, Dirt Farmer, you fucking piece of shit. Come
You
on
are a
over
piece
here
of
and
crap.
talk to us. You know what? Y'all go ahead. Come on in. Go ahead. Because you know what, Charlie girl, I'm not going to be nice like you. I'm not going to drop down because I'm going to sit
Yeah.
here. I'm going to ask them.
Oh,
You know
look.
what? What is your thought
Sunday,
process? You asshole. Because we don't want to hear your bullshit and your excuses as to why you're chopped up and people are making up shit about you and how you were falsely accused and blah, 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 blah. When the crap came out of your mouth, you had the crap on your cell phone. You're going after innocent children. So you go ahead and come on over here.
exactly right. Is one of you girls able to drop the StreamYard link? And if any of them are lurking in the background?
Well, it can't be me because if I do anything, I'm coming off this panel. I'm trying to get commands. Look, we're gonna have a project tomorrow morning when I wake up. We're gonna work on
Nightbot project.
Nightbot project.
Yeah. If we can drop the StreamYard link, and then, like I said, if any
No,
of these
they won't come up
assholes are
because,
lurking in the background, they can. But if anybody else in chat wants to jump up and join us, you're more than damn welcome.
And y'all need to look at that Michael Dula guy as well because he's all over YouTube and he is a registered.
he's had many channels shut down
Yes.
because it's been turned in and he just reopens another one. And what's concerning is that people are actually following this guy. They're actually chatting with all of them actually. And I find that very disturbing.
Oh, but he's not guilty because he had to take a plea deal. No, when you're in the United States, you don't have the money. They'll give you a court-appointed lawyer.
You don't take a plea deal. He's the one, he had this stuff on his phone.
Yep.
So no. Go ahead, come over here, try and feed us your bullshit because it ain't going to work. It's not going to stand over here. You take your bullshit
Yep.
somewhere else. Why don't you take it off of YouTube? And you know what? Better yet, you assholes, take it and keep it away from the children. That's what you
Yeah,
need to do. You need to
exactly.
go get your mind straight. I don't know what the heck is wrong with your head, but something is when you want to sit here and hurt innocent children, innocent little boys and girls. What the hell is wrong with you? You're pieces of dirt. You know what? I can't even think anything low enough to describe what you are.
100%.
Poor Dirt Farmer is a good name. Poor Dirt. Because talk about marrying an 8-year-old? Really?
Well, unfortunately, with behaviours like that, eventually he won't be a poor dirt farmer, he'll be eating dirt. Because karma will end up catching up to him in the end, and he's going to have to meet his dam maker.
Yeah, well, these people are pieces of. I mean, I can't even. You know, and like I said, it's even that it's just so disturbing. And then you got these people who are actually following them and taking up for them and making excuses for them. I don't ever want to ever hear an excuse again of, oh, it's just shop talk. It's just guy talk.
Yeah.
If you don't know what's going on, sit back and read the room and figure it out before you open your damn mouth, because you look as stupid and you make everybody else look as stupid too. There's no excuse for that kind of talk to a child or about a
There's
child.
never an
Period.
excuse. There's no rationalising it, justifying it, and nothing. So, like I said, poor dirt farmer. If anybody, if he hears this, if it happens to get back to him, join us in the next live if you're not here now. Dan, if you're lurking in the background and you want to try and justify how you're still talking to more sexual predators, because what have I just found out, Danny boy, hey? What have I just found out about you? Hmm? What do I know, Dan? What do I know? Eh?
Oh, he knows.
Because I'll
He
tell you
knows.
something, Dan. I've now got proof that you're talking to another two sexual predators. You're the one who sat up on panel claiming to Purple, oh, I don't talk to any other sexual predators. I just talked to this guy one time and wrote him a letter in prison. And as soon as I found out who he was, I cut all contact. Well, that number just keeps climbing higher, Dan, doesn't it?
Sick
Because
motherfucker.
you're now associated to multiple people who believe that it's okay to speak to children inappropriately. Multiple.
And expose himself. Don't forget that one.
Yeah, and that's one
Who
video
the hell
we
did?
could not show on the live when we were on Jenna's live the last time because of the nature of it. But yeah, we do have a video that is unfortunately there that shows Dan on a live while on his StreamYard, which he often does while playing his PlayStation. And during this live, 2 children were in his chat. 2 children. 2 minor children. When Dan happened to decide that he needed to go for a shower during the live stream, came out of the shower during the live stream with a big white bath towel wrapped around him, but just happened to have a little accident where the bath towel slipped and exposed everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything.
Sick
And his
motherfucker.
excuse is, oh, but it slipped. Okay, well, do you think it was A, appropriate in the damn first place to even go for a shower while on a live stream without turning your damn camera off?
Right.
Second of all, you knew there was minor children in your chat, so be appropriate. You were not appropriate. And based on your previous behaviours and attitudes towards children, you're expecting us all to now believe that that was just an accidental towel slippage. No, I don't think so, Dan. I don't think so. And then you had the cheek, Dan, to try and come up under a fake account into one of the chats the other day.
Oh, we
Like,
got
what
your
the-
ass, Captain. We got your ass. You were out of there, weren't you? Yeah.
Like, get this through your tiny, small brain, Dan. Okay? Just like hear this loud and clear, right? You are not now, nor will you ever be welcome, no matter what account you are fucking on. And even if we don't know at first which account you come in under that's a fake account, we will find out. And when we do find out, you'll be gone. So don't
Right.
make yourself comfortable wherever you slope your way into and slide your way into, because you will get found out, we will expose your fucking ass, and we will keep putting it out there. So that no matter what community you end up in, they are fully aware of who and what you are. Same goes for Poor Dirt Farmer, same goes for Michael, same goes for the rest. Any others that come across our way that we find out, we will call it out each and every damn time. And like we said, we're completely fair. If these people want to come up and express their opinions and try and justify to anyone or rationalise their thought process or their behaviours or whatever, come have a conversation. You think you can get people to believe that your way of thinking is okay? Let's go. Because I promise you, you ain't never going to win that one.
Not here.
No. Not in the slightest.
Yeah,
Ask
you know what we could do?
everybody out there.
You know what we could do, CJ? Fat Dan, come on over. Come on up on panel. And how about we play some of your, let's review your videos. How about we review your lives that you've done in its entirety that's not chopped up? Would you
Yeah.
like to do that?
Exactly. I mean, what do you want us to do, Dan? Do you want us to sit and play all the videos that we showed? I'll give you the opportunity, Dan. You sit there and I'll play each video and you explain to me how those words are chopped up, explain to me how they're edited, explain to me how you're the victim in any of this. You know, and one of the gentlemen that is absolutely on point with exposing everything that Dan does. I found out this morning that Dan went live and is threatening to sue the police. Now, so he's now going to sue the police for thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds because complaints keep getting put in regarding his behaviour. Well, here's the problem with the justice system right now. He's on the cusp of the law. Has he committed a crime physically against a child? No, not that we're aware of, which is why he's not being convicted of a sexual offence against a minor child. But his inappropriateness towards children is enough to flag him up in terms of our social system and in terms of our police system. And because those things have been able to be flagged up, don't doubt for 1 second he's not being watched. But having inappropriate thoughts and opinions, unfortunately, isn't enough to create a criminal offence. But it is enough for you to be watched and put on the radar. So that's the situation that we're unfortunately stuck in. So a lot of people are watching what he's doing, paying attention, recording everything, and they're passing everything on to the police. So everything that was exposed on Jenna's Live regarding Dan, everything that was said, all this information has already been sent to the police multiple times. Multiple times by many different people. The police are already aware of this, and whenever he does something new, it gets clipped, forwarded, and sent on. But because people are so consistent with making sure that he doesn't get away with what he's doing, he puts in claims of harassment. He says he either resorts to one of two things. You're either harassing him or he claims that you're a paedophile. As we say in the UK, you're a nonce. He'll either call you a nonce or he'll say that you're harassing him and he's a victim. But in fact, what people are done with is listening to his bullshit and hearing how he's speaking about minor children. And he's not just speaking about minor children this way, he's speaking to minor children this way. And part of the reason the police can't do anything is because, unfortunately, the PlayStation is one of the hardest apps when it comes to gaming, things like that, to monitor. So my advice to any parent out there, if your children have a headset, a microphone, if they're on the PlayStation, Xbox, or any of these consoles, check who your children are speaking to. Don't just take your child's word for it. As much as we want to know that we can trust our children, don't just take your children's word for it that the people that they're speaking to are children. Because for all you know, there could be a Dan in the room. It's as simple as that. And the people who are like Dan in the room are going to offer kids packages for their characters. They're going to offer them upgrades. They're going to offer them this, that, the next thing. They're going to be nice to them and just be that friend to them. But underneath all of that is going to be this.
Hey, I'll just shoot the shit out of her. You're still.
So because underneath that there could be predatory behaviours, we've all got to stand and say, you know what, let's check our children's devices, check who they're damn well speaking to, make sure we know who they're speaking to, because like I said, there could be a Dan in the room. So we have to keep our kids safe by monitoring their social media platforms. Remember that when our children have mobile devices, it's not just a matter of having their accounts linked up to our account so that we can monitor their emails or their messages. Please also remember that when our children download apps to their devices, that sometimes a lot of these games apps come with an inbox feature built in. Completely separate inbox feature built into the app. So always remember when you're checking your children's devices to go through those apps, not just the emails, not just their Messenger or WhatsApp, but also go through their apps and check if any of these apps have a private Messenger inbox, and check those also, because they're completely separate and can't be linked up to your device the way maybe Facebook or any of those things can. So monitor your children's devices, pay attention. Our children kick and scream. They want their privacy, their independence when they become teenagers. They kick off at us saying, oh, we want our privacy, stop invading our space, all this malarkey. But we also have to remember that our children cannot make informed choices for themselves because they're minors. They're not fully aware of the risks and the dangers out there yet to be able to make safe, informed choices for themselves online. So that's our job. Each and every damn time, that is our job. We have to check their devices. We have to make sure that we know who they're talking to. We have to pay attention to make sure that our children don't end up on a social media platform or in a gaming chat room with somebody like Dan. Because let's face it, how would we all feel if we thought our children were sitting innocently playing a game only to later find out that somebody like Dan's been in a gaming room with them saying, I'd love to see your fanny. Oh, what a nice set of tits you've got for a 13-year-old. Stop for a second and think about it. As parents, how would we all feel if one of our children came to us and said, this guy in the chat room was saying this? Or if we overheard it, or if we later found it out, how would we feel? So it's our job to try and cut those risks down as much as possible, and that means monitoring our children's devices. Our children's devices aren't babysitting services. They're not a way of keeping our kids quiet. They're not a way of distracting our kids. Not at all. But we have to make sure that when we give them tools like that, we also teach them how to keep themselves safe. And while they're learning that, that's our job. So like I said, once a week, once every so often, take a few minutes, just take 5 minutes and check your kids' devices. Make it clear to them that it's not because you don't trust them. It's because they are children. And until they're grown, they might not be fully aware of all the risks out there, and they might not spot signs of predatory behaviour out there. But as adults, we might see those things, and we might be more able to recognise that and protect our kids in a way that they can't protect themselves. So that's our job. So please just take 5 minutes, check everybody's device, and make sure that we're all standing for what's right.
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind too is that first and foremost, we do have to educate our children. That is very important, to educate them and give them the tools and the know-how and to recognize red flags and to try and stay away from people like that. But we all know kids. Kids are going to do things. Kids are sneaky. I
Yeah,
mean, they do all kinds of stuff. They are going to do things that we don't know about. We won't find out until later. That's the innocence of a child, is they don't see the harm in anything, right?
no, they don't.
So when you do have something like this come up where this person is no good, the situations or whatever, that's why we need to be so adamant about getting them off of here, getting them off of the internet. That is something that they need to toughen up somehow, some way.
100%, 100%. And that's the thing. We don't know where these people are, and we've got to check our kids' devices, and it's not a reflection on how much we trust or don't trust them. It's doing what's right. At the end of the damn day, doing what's right. And our kids are sneaky. Kids, when they get to a certain age, they strive for their independence, they want to do their own thing. Suddenly, their Facebook account that was attached to mum and dad's email that they can monitor. Do you not think teenagers, once they get to a certain age, they suddenly know how to set up a damn email? Of course they do. They go and set up another email. They set up a Facebook account that mum and dad can't access. They keep it private, and they only add their damn friends.
Yeah, I mean,
teenagers are sneaky, and they're going to strive to do things like that, which is why, as much as we want to instill and believe in our kids and have trust, we also have to monitor it and be mindful and careful until they are old enough to make all those safe choices for themselves.
Yeah, in the meantime, you try and, what we need to do is get the laws. We really need these laws toughened up. There needs to be things put into place legality wise. I mean, they're going so heavy core, heavy hitters after drug users and stuff, right? You can have a drug user spend a lifetime in jail, but you got a pedophile who walks out in 5, I mean, this shit's unreal. And then they have access to the internet. Now, there's got to be something put in place. I just, I'm a little confused on that. Like, where's the value here in our children?
100%. Like I said, no parent, you can be the most perfect parent in the world. And I don't think there is such a thing, to be fair, but we can be as good a parent as we want, we can be. But we can't always keep our kids safe. But what we can do is try everything we damn well can to make sure that we educate our children, that there's no such things as secrets. We've got to teach our kids the difference between a good secret, like, oh, it's a surprise birthday party, and a bad secret. We've got to educate our kids the difference. We've got to teach our kids about body safety, about their own body rights. We've got to teach kids those things. And it's sad that we live in a world where we have to educate our kids in those ways. But it's the best way as parents we can educate and protect our kids, so that if, God forbid, if anything ever happened, that our children are aware that they can come speak to someone and keep talking till somebody hears them and listens.
CJ, somebody asked you to turn up your volume. and StreamYard. And Dree has some really good news she'd like to share.
Oh, what's your good news, Dree?
Do you want to come up?
Yeah, if you want to drop the link again, if anybody wants to come up, you're more than welcome. I'd love to hear your good news, Dree.
I'm getting it.
That's right, Purple. That's all they're worth is shark bait.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's amazing, Dree.
You better tell him to heat that pool up.
Awesome. 2 promotions.
Yeah. Well, the link's there if anybody wants to jump up for a little bit before we close out. You're more than welcome. Share your opinions, have your say.
Yeah, and I apologize if I get a little heated. I'm
Oh,
sorry, CJ.
Not at all. I want everybody to feel free to be able to say what's on their mind over subjects like this. There's really, we're all entitled to our feelings and our opinions.
Yeah, well, I could get a lot nastier, but I try not to.
And I thank everybody for coming and being here to support. I really, really do, truly. You guys really have no idea how much it means to me, you all being here tonight and supporting what we're doing here. And I truly understand that a subject like this can be raw and it can be triggering and it can be quite a harsh conversation to be had. It's not going to be tough all the time. Like I said, we're going to be able to sit and talk about some positive things because I want to do a lot of focusing on how do you survive, how do you move forward, how do you live with things like this. So I want to do a lot of supporting around those things also. Because every survivor who's ever been through something like this deserves the right to be heard and to have a voice and have an opinion on any of these things. And I want people to be free to voice those things at any time.
Where did Charlie girl go?
She fell down and went boom.
No.
But yeah, I want to thank everybody for everything that they've done to support this, and I hope that you're going to show up for the next one and see what the channel brings in the future. And like I said, hopefully in the future we'll start discussing some cases and different things that we can get our teeth into and maybe start discussing some things there. So I truly thank you all for coming. Mucho appreciated.
Well, thank you so much for doing this, Paige. It is very important. It is a really hard subject matter, I know, and there are so many rabbit holes to go into on it, and you do such a fantastic job speaking on it. I'm always amazed by you, CJ. I really am.
Each and every one of you ladies are absolutely amazing. You really are. I couldn't do without y'all. Each and every person is such a strong person in their own right, even if they don't feel it in that moment. You're all amazing. Like I say, just know that no matter what your journey is, we are here for you. We stand by you. We believe you. And we advocate for what's right. Every one of you are true warriors in your own right. You're absolutely amazing and don't ever forget it. And just remember that even in your darkest of times, when you don't feel strong enough to carry yourself, just remember, reach out to someone, because there'll be somebody there willing to help carry that weight for you until you're strong enough to carry it yourself. So please don't ever be frightened of reaching out to someone. It's the easiest thing in the world when we're in the struggle to pull away, to isolate ourselves, to back off of people. Usually when people do that, it is because they know that the people they're closest to are going to see the struggle that they're truly in. So they hide away. Just know that when you're in that bubble and you feel alone and you don't want people to see through your mask, just realise that the people who care truly already do see through that mask. And we want to reach out and help and support. You've just got to reach out a hand back and let somebody help you. So I love each and every one of you. Like I said, you're all amazing, and I thank you all for coming.
Thank
So
you, CJ. And I'll talk to you later, okay? Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Love you.
I love you too. Well, thank you all for coming. Like I said, you've all been absolutely amazing. And I'll end it with the intro/outro. So thank you all for coming, and I'll see you all later. Have a good night. Take care of each other.
My hand's stable, I feel able to turn the tables, I could do this. Just keep moving, keep your hands up, stupid. I feel lucid, a new viewing. I can see the end, I can see my future, I can view it. It's right there for the taking. Everything I've ever wanted, dreams are just waiting. I just gotta fight for it, willing to die for it. Willing to like soreness, I just need a hike for it. I'm standing up 'cause I've had enough. I won't give up on the chance. As long as I'm breathing, I'm not retreating. I could be bleeding, I'll take a beating and keep on proceeding. I'm not fatiguing, 'cause once I enter the ring, I'll be undefeated. I got everything I need to be the greatest I could be. Watch out, I'm here now. Big mood, no doubts. Big moves, big mouth. Hit hard, knockout. I come from a different pedigree. Destiny don't mean anything. I make everything in my life come to life. Manifest, see the light. Intuition be my guide. This is how I have survived. I'm standing up 'cause I've had enough.